Okay, so you've probably seen these beautiful woven mats in pictures of Japanese homes, right? Or maybe you've even been lucky enough to feel them under your feet. But what if I told you that this humble floor covering is hiding some absolutely incredible secrets? Yeah, it's so much more than it looks, and today we're gonna peel back the layers on what is basically a piece of living history.
I mean, look at this. It's a floor, sure, but it's also furniture. It's the foundation for sitting, for sleeping, for daily life. And that last part, a natural air purifier? Seriously, that's just the beginning. We're about to find out how this incredibly sophisticated piece of natural tech actively makes a home healthier and way more comfortable.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with what it actually feels like to be in a tatami room. Then, we'll basically dissect a mat to see what it's made of. After that, we dive into the amazing science packed inside, trace its thousand-year journey through Japanese history, and finally, we'll talk about its enduring soul.
Right. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, I want you to just imagine walking into a tatami room. The very first thing that hits you is the smell. It's this clean, grassy, kind of sweet aroma from the woven rush grass, which is called igusa. And then there's the feeling under your feet. It's firm, but it has this gentle give that you just don't get from wood or carpet. It's a whole sensory experience, really.
So what is it that makes a tatami feel and smell that specific way? Well, to really understand its magic, we need to look inside. So let's do that. Let's unpack its layers and break it down into its three basic parts.
Okay, so every single tatami mat has a surface, a core, and a border. The part we see and walk on, that's the tatami omate. But the real workhorse, the part that's hidden from view, is the tatami doko, the core. Let's take a closer look at each one. First up, the surface, the tatami omote. This is woven from that special rush grass I mentioned, igusa. And the quality of the mat, it's totally tied to the quality of this grass. If you have longer, thicker, more uniform stalks, you get a much more durable, comfortable, and fragrant surface. This is where that wonderful signature smell comes from. Now, underneath that beautiful woven surface lies the tatami doko. This is the real heart of the mat. Traditionally, it's made from layers and layers of rice straw, all compressed down to about 5 centimeters thick. This super dense core is what gives tatami its unique firmness, its amazing sound and heat insulation, and, this is crucial, its ability to breathe. And finally, you've got the tatami heri. That's the cloth border that protects the edges. Now, today, it's mostly a decorative choice. You can get endless patterns and colors. But get this, historically, this was a huge deal. The material, the color, even the pattern of the border were strictly controlled to show off the social rank and status of whoever owned the house. Of course, tradition evolves. While those rice straw cores give you that authentic feel and amazing cushioning, a lot of modern tatami use composite cores made of wood pulp or even styrofoam. As you can see here, they're way lighter and more resistant to moisture, which is a really practical trade-off, especially for modern apartments where weight and humidity can be an issue. Okay, now we get to the part that is just truly remarkable. A tatami mat isn't just some passive thing lying on the floor. Nope, it's an active, living technology that is constantly interacting with the room around it. Seriously, think of it as a living floor. So because the rush grass and rice straw are so porous, the mat acts like a natural air conditioner. It literally soaks up extra humidity from the air and then releases it back when the air gets dry. It also purifies the air by absorbing nasty chemicals like formaldehyde. The dense core is a fantastic sound insulator, so it makes the space quieter and more peaceful. And that famous scent, studies have actually shown it has a measurable calming effect on your brain. How cool is that? And hey, these health benefits aren't just folklore. There's real science here. Just look at this quote from Dr. Hiroshi Morita. The Igusa rush grass has powerful antibacterial properties. It actively fights off nasty stuff like E. coli and salmonella, making it an incredibly hygienic floor to live on. And its environmental cred is just as impressive. A single tatami mat acts as a carbon sink, absorbing about 1.5 kilograms of CO2 from the atmosphere. Now, when you think about a typical room having 6 or 8 of these mats, well, that really starts to add up. It's a beautiful, renewable, and biodegradable piece of climate-friendly design. So now that we know the what, let's talk about the when and why. Tatami hasn't always been in every Japanese home. Its history traces this fascinating path from being an imperial luxury to becoming the heart of the everyday home, and it tells a story about Japanese society itself.
The first time tatami's even mentioned is over 1,300 years ago in the Nara period, and back then it was just a thin, foldable mat for nobles. During the Heian period, it got thicker, used for seating and bedding for the super rich. It wasn't until the Muromachi period that entire rooms started to be covered wall to wall. But the real game changer was the Edo period. That's when tatami finally spread to the homes of common folks. By the post-war boom, it was an absolute essential in the Japanese home.
So when you bring it all together, what is a tatami mat? Well, it's not just a floor. It's this perfect blend of nature's genius, proven science, and 1,000 years of cultural history, all woven into one single beautiful object. So the crucial point is really this. Tatami is a living part of the home. It breathes with the seasons, it cleans the space, and it calms your mind. And more than anything else, just having it there connects a modern room to this ancient, enduring tradition.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. In our world, which is full of smart devices and synthetic everything, what lessons can we learn from this ancient, natural, and incredibly wise floor? Maybe the best technology is the kind that works quietly, in perfect harmony with nature and with us.